Some of you may be thinking, you're a dietitian, what's the secret to weight loss? Is it eating in a calorie deficit? Is it calories in, calories out? Are we back onto the keto? Are we intermittent fasting? Is it low fat or is it low carb? Or do we have to cut out all the sugar? So what if we told you that in our day-to-day work, we're actually talking very little about what to eat? Like Teddy said, most of us know what healthy eating is. We know what we should be doing. The question is, why aren't we doing it?
You don't need another diet plan or meal plan or for us to tell you to follow this exact eating pattern. We need to figure out the why. The food is the easy part. Easy. We can do nutrition very easily. Most of our clients, we know what to eat, right? We know what healthy eating is. The food is the easy part. The tough part is the iceberg, and this is what, as coaches, we specialize in. And getting to the why. What is driving the overeating? Why are our clients eating when they know what to eat, but they're coming home, they're stressed out, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're turning to food for emotional comfort? What are the drivers that are leading our clients to feel a little bit less out of control with food? And that's where we specialize as coaches.
So we're going to get into a little bit of a science lesson here. I think with traditional commercial diets, it's a lot of personal responsibility. You just have to eat, exercise. It's all about the nutrition. If the weight goes up, it's your fault. But a big piece of the puzzle that many diets aren't talking about is the science and the physiology about it. We, all being part of Obesity Matters, knows that the physiology is also important, but no one's really talking about it. So here's a mini science lesson on the brain and what is at play with weight and eating. It's called the neurological appetite systems. So this is the process in our brain that happens to make sure that we eat so that we stay alive. There are 3 appetite systems. The first one is the hypothalamus. It's responsible for balance, for hunger and fullness. So when it's time to eat and we're feeling hungry, our body is going to release the hunger hormones to let us know that it's time to eat. That's when we start feeling a little hollow, our tummy is grumbling, and that's the first role of the appetite system. But it's not enough that we just feel hungry. The brain needs to make sure that we're actually motivated to get up and hunt and gather, usually in our kitchen. So we go up to the mesolimbic system of the brain. This part of the brain is solely responsible for giving us urges, cravings, and that motivation so that we actually go and get the food. We like to describe that part of the brain like the toddler with the gimmies. That part of the brain just wants the highest calorie foods because that's what's going to be the most advantageous for survival. Celery and cucumbers are great micronutrients, but it's not going to make sure that we pack on the energy so that we survive. So the toddler is always going to want the highest sugar, the highest fat foods. And when a toddler, a really cute baby, is crying and wants something, we can't resist. We want to give the baby what it wants. So the next step of the appetite system is the prefrontal cortex. So we know this is the frontal lobe of the brain. It's responsible for all of the decision making. And the thing about the prefrontal cortex is it's usually sleepy most of the time. So if that part of the brain is actually awake, then we are able to make decisions with eating, with anything that is better for the long term, maybe uncomfortable in the moment, but we're able to make those more logical executive decisions. The downside is that there's only a finite amount of mental capacity and decisions that we can make each day, so most of the time, our prefrontal cortex is sleepy. When we're in the sleepy executive brain, we want the instant gratification. We want the path of least resistance, the thing that is going to conserve the most energy, because that's what's going to be the most advantageous for survival. So if we've had a long day at work and we're feeling exhausted and we come home and then we eat the snacks in our cupboard, we feel awful because our logical brain knows what we should be doing and what we shouldn't. But why did we do that in the first place? It's because there's a lot of underlying physiology and neurology that's going on that we don't consider too. It's not a soul failure in ourselves that we're not doing the things that we know we should be doing, because look at all the things we got to battle every day. We got the toddler, we got the sleepy executive, and it's really difficult. So that's the science behind what's going on when it comes to nutrition.
So let's talk about over-desire. So over-desire is when we're eating, when we're not hungry, there's no physical hunger, or we're eating past the point of that comfortable fullness. What is driving that over-desire? And we like to think of that in two categories. We think of it as physiological over-desire. So that's when we have that strong urge or craving, our mouth is watering, and then there's psychological over-desire, which we as coaches focus on a lot. So what is our relationship with food? What is our thoughts around food that are super subconscious? Most of our clients aren't even aware of these thoughts that are driving up that over-desire for food. So today we're going to be doing a plant-based style recipe. And this is, so in here you'll see it says 4 servings. So this is not, the servings you see here is not intended to be a full meal. I would say this is more of like a crowd pleaser, or you can have it on the side of your plate. I wouldn't say necessarily this is a full meal. If you wanted to make it a full meal, I would change it to 2 servings instead of 4. So I would just divide that by 2 to get that 1 serving. So I'm just gonna get my gloves on because Preeti told me that we will be sampling this. So I wanna make sure I'm not touching anything. So what we have here is the ingredients. So as the base of this salad, I'm going to be using kale. And usually what we recommend for our clients is to get in a dark leafy green. So the darker the green, we say it's really gonna pack a punch in terms of vitamins and minerals. So I just have some washed kale here that I'm gonna put as my base. I'm not gonna put the full amount. So I have around 6 cups here. The recipe says, so I actually doubled the recipe, so this is 8 servings instead of 4. That way we can all have a chance to try it. So I have my kale at the bottom. That one's the easy part. You can really use any green here. It doesn't have to be kale. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of kale. Okay, I have edamame beans. So edamame beans are a plant-based protein. They're one of my favorite protein sources to recommend to my clients. Number 1, it's cheap. Cost of eggs, cost of meat, cost of chicken is really expensive right now. Edamame beans are fairly affordable. So $5, I just buy them frozen and I defrost them, and I would say 3/4 cup would be a good serving size for a meal. I'm adding in 4 cups here because I doubled this recipe, but if you're thinking, how much should I add to my salad? I would say around a cup would be around over 20 grams of protein. So really delicious plant-based protein. And plant-based proteins also have the benefit of fiber. So they're packed with a fiber punch, lots of vitamins and minerals, and again, it's very affordable, which is what we're all looking for nowadays. So then I just have some veg. I just have some chopped up cherry tomatoes. Again, the recipe says a cup. I have 2 cups here. That way I can make a more generous serving size. So I have that over here. And again, any veg would work here with this dish. And then I have some fun stuff. So I have here a cup of bulgur. Sorry, this is buckwheat. The recipe says bulgur. I couldn't find bulgur. I went to 4 stores. So instead we have cooked buckwheat. I have a cup here. And what we typically recommend a serving size for a meal is 1/2 cup of cooked starches. So around 1/2 cup of cooked buckwheat would be a great serving size if you're doing this as a full meal. But we see here we have, I'm adding here a cup because I doubled that recipe. So I'm just adding that in here, and I'm gonna add a little more later. And then I have some pumpkin seeds. So healthy fats. So this is one of my favorite fat sources because again, it has some plant-based protein as well. It has fiber, and it's packed with healthy fats. So this is gonna be that satiety aspect of the meal. Same with the protein. The protein is also gonna help with satiety, but this is just delicious, honestly. And it has, I think, an important thing when you're cooking recipes and what we teach our clients is we really wanna enjoy the foods we eat. And here I have 1 cup. So 1/2 cup is for 4 servings, and I just doubled it. So we have a lot of pumpkin seeds here. And again, the one things we teach our clients is we really want them to enjoy the flavor of their food. And I find that working with different textures, like the pumpkin seeds and the buckwheat and the cherry tomatoes, it just gives a lot of satisfaction to the meal. Okay, the last ingredient I have here is, I'm a big fan of convenience. I was gonna make a tahini sauce, but I thought, hey, they make a delicious tahini sauces that you can just buy. So this one is by nothing special. You could really use any brand. I picked this up at Metro. It's the Summer Fresh brand, apple cider tahini. Sounds super fancy. So usually I would add a quarter cup if I was making 4 servings for a side salad. I'm going to add around half a cup. And this is very dense, so I'm probably gonna have to shake this up, and I'll probably just pour it generously. So I'm adding around half a cup, and then I'll probably mix that all in, and this is just tahini. So there's tahini, lemon juice in here, apple cider vinegar, some soy sauce, some garlic. Again, you can make your own tahini sauce with just store-bought tahini, some lemon juice, some olive oil. It's really, really easy to make. And then I just mix it up. So really the benefits of this salad is that you're getting your protein, you're getting your healthy fats from the pumpkin seeds, the tahini, you're getting your whole grains to keep you nice and fueled from the buckwheat, and you're getting some greens. Like, this is a really nutritious salad. I'm actually gonna make this tonight for some of my friends coming over. I doubled the recipe so I can have some, I have some at home as well to make. And it's just really important to also show your family members, like, healthy eating is tasty. Whenever I make something, they're like, is this healthy? And it can really be tasty and nutritious and delicious, and we're gonna have it also for everyone.